Why do we read, bro? What is the point of reading? What is the point of suffering through a 500,000 word piece of literature that was written all the way back in the 19th century? What could possibly be the point of that? Now listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, bro. If you're someone who already knows why they read, then this chat probably isn't for you. But if you're someone who's on the fence about reading, trying to get back into reading, or simply likes hearing about reading, then you're probably gonna enjoy this discussion to follow. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. That was a dive if you didn't know. There are tons of people out here, bro, who think they're hella smart just because they read a lot. You probably come across them before, you know, they're not hard to spot. They're like, oh, look at me, I read a book every week for a year. I read a book every day for the year. And jabba jabba jabba. That is not the type of reading we do down here, broski. We don't read for the sake of reading. We don't read to say we've read X amount of books in Y amount of time. Do you catch my drift? There is also another type of reading objective / type of reader that grinds my gears a bit, bro. It is the reader who reads for the sake of saying that they've read a hard book. Bit of word waffle, but let me explain. In my view, if you're reading a book just because it is hard, just to say you've read a hard book, then you're probably just skimming through the pages, bro. You're probably not taking anything in, you're probably not learning anything. In my mind, I'm thinking, what's the point of that? You may as well read the Fantastic Mr. Fox or some Dr. Seuss and get something out of it, get the moral of the story, rather than suffering through War and Peace for the sake of it, just to say you've read it and not understand it and be lost 50 pages in. But let's take a break, and no, this isn't a sponsor break, this is more of a mindfulness break, because as I'm sure you've noticed, bro, this chat has been kind of negative so far. And that's kind of false advertising, because reading is a positive habit, and I'm trying to be a more positive person if you can believe it or not. So we talked about why we shouldn't read. But why should we read? What is the point? We read to enter the minds of some of mankind's greatest thinkers. If I could only give one reason to you right now, bro, as to why you should pick up or continue reading, this would be it. This would be it by far. Alright, I'm gonna level with you, bro. This part right now will make me sound like a mad scientist or your middle school English teacher, but you're gonna have to hear me out, okay? You don't understand how powerful this is. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're walking to your local bookstore, or you're scrolling through Amazon, and you decide to pick up A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Cool. It arrives and you start reading it. You're not just reading A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, bro. You're getting a lecture. You are having a conversation with Mr. Dickens himself on the consequences of revolution. For the duration that you read that book, Charles Dickens becomes your personal teacher, your very own conversationalist. His ideas go from his head to his hand to his pen to the words on the page to your mind. Do you understand how crazy that is? Do you know how privileged you should be to be able to experience that? It is truly a great thing. This sort of principle can be applied to almost any book that's ever been written. I know in the past I've pooped on non-fiction books as well, but to be honest, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, that is quite literally a shakedown from the man himself, and I will not hear otherwise. I have not met a single person who has read that book and not decided to fix up their life immediately. When you read that book, it is quite literally David Goggins shouting in your ear to fix your life and make your bed. And you can experience that for only $9.99. That is crazy. So to answer the question at the start, why do we even read? We read because reading is not technically reading, bro. Reading is one-on-one tuition, a conversation with some of mankind's greatest thinkers. Their ideas have travelled hundreds of years just to meet you today. But listen, I've said all I want to say, and you know what you need to do. So go and conquer the world, bro.